Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Russ, that was awesome. And
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for being on.
yeah, my pleasure. I've got two questions. First of all, you said that you played with the ZX80 in the 80s. I'm looking
Yep.
at you. You kind of look like a young man to me. So is that like your rattle toy in the crib?
No, thank you for that. I'm a little older than I look. I've got a granddaughter, so maybe that helps frame things.
Perhaps then the ZX80 is her rattle toy, and we can expect.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
for sure.
Oh, very good. And the second question that I have is, what's your prediction for the killer app of Quantum?
Boy, I wish I knew the answer to that. I'm not sure yet, but I'm excited to find out. I think people smarter than me or more or closer, although I try to dig in on the science, I'm not really a coder, and so the folks that do that, I think, are going to work that magic. And I wish I knew the answer to that question. I'm super excited to see what unfolds. I have a question for you, Dave. What's Dark Star Quantum Lab?
Oh, well, as per my quip, Death Star sounded like it was too dark, so we went with Dark Star. So Dr. Faisal Shah Khan will not be pleased with that statement, I think. And he's the brains behind the outfit. So Dark Star Quantum Lab was actually created out of U.S. Air Force conference looking for quantum tech.
Great.
Now, it has an exciting sounding background, and I ended up being a speaker for the U.S. Space Force and U.S. Air Force conference because of my background in Canada. However, for Dark Star, we have lowly goals, which is something that you were just talking about, Russ, uh, where there's the term quantum advantage, but there's also quantum of advantage, a term that Dr. Faisal Shah Khan uses to say use a hybrid approach, where he's one of the developers on D-Wave. D-Wave brags about. And for example, we have a product called Schedule with a Q, where we have a seaport who thinks that we can help them stack and unstack the containers more efficiently to add to their bottom line. So we do practical projects. Another project is an epidemiology project, which is the first time I've actually said that word properly. So I'm quite proud of myself. I think that's because Kevin has a background in this stuff, and I've been attending. So his force has been seeping into my vocabulary. So Dark Star Quantum Lab is just practical application of quantum. It's similar to, you might recall the VisiCalc days.
Yeah.
So VisiCalc, from which 123, Lowe's 123 and Excel came from, it was really, if you know how to program that, and I can brag that I was someone who did know how to use it back then, although I'm not a quantum programmer. You could eke out some benefits for interested parties. And so just doing the same thing, eking out some benefits in a very practical manner for interested parties, at the same time trying to encourage quantum developers, the quantum ecosystem. I mentioned in my bio the Quantum Kid, which is a bunch of motivated 5 to 10-year-olds that meet every
Wow.
Friday at 8 o'clock to learn about quantum. And I tell them about Kevin. So Kevin, you're a cartoon character for the Quantum Kid. They've heard about you, and I should invite you to talk for one of these Fridays. And Russ, that's our attempt to seed the quantum development requirement, and it's quite hilarious as these 10-year-olds try to explain what quantum is, and they've been putting out some TikToks and YouTubes of which are quite amusing and inspirational.
That's nice. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. So I put in the chat, so it's a little bit about ID Quantique and a D-Wave in there. So something to think about. So as far as you asked, killer app, Dave, now there's a number of companies that have been out there for a while. D-Wave actually started wanting to do gate-based superconducting qubit. I think this is 1999, 2000, like right when they started. They switched to annealing. And then, so they announced their first commercial quantum annealing in 2011. And now they're going to do a hybrid. So now their hybrids are CPU and QPU with annealing. And now they're going to do CPU, QPUs in annealing and gate-based. So they're going back to gate-based. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I think a lot of good stuff is in the pipeline. It's a little bit hard for to say which exact.